Vehicle preparation. Apply parking brake. Disconnect the negative battery cable. Prepare a protective surface to place all vehicle components on. Radio removal. Lay down a protective blanket over climate controls and transmission area. Using a number 2 Phillips screwdriver, remove the 2 screws holding the silver trim on the sides of the white radio bezel. With the panel tool, remove the silver trim by gently prying towards you, separating the locking tabs. Remove the 2 number 2 Phillips screws holding the white radio bezel in place. Remove the white radio bezel by pulling directly towards you. Disconnect the connectors from behind the bezel. Using a 10mm socket wrench, remove the 4 bolts holding the radio in place. Disconnect the connectors and antenna lead. Remove radio and store. QuickSync wiring harness installation. With the QuickSync wiring harness in hand, run the power wires, gray, white, and black amplifier connectors, and 10mm ground through the radio cavity towards the driver's side kick panel. You'll want to run these wires entirely to the point where the OEM Audio Plus 10-pin and 6-pin male and female connectors rest in the radio cavity. The wires ran can rest on the driver's side floor for the time being. In the radio cavity, connect the 10-pin connector from your factory radio to the OEM Audio Plus QuickSync wiring harness 10-pin connector. Plug the rear bypass umbilical cable into your OEM Audio Plus QuickSync wiring harness 6-pin connector. On the passenger side of the vehicle, open the glove box and disengage the glove box damper on the right side. Squeeze sides of glove box and pull down and out in a motion to remove. Run the sub-umbilical gray connector to the driver's side of the kick panel through the radio cavity. You'll want this wire the same length as the black sub-amplifier connector. Run the other side of the sub-umbilical with the white connector to the passenger side kick panel area. Run the cable over the air filter, avoiding any binding along the way. Wire tie as necessary. Plug your OEM Audio Plus QuickSync wiring harness connectors into the back of your radio. Plug in the remainder of your radio connectors and reinstall radio, bezel, and trim. Sub-umbilical installation. Remove the passenger side threshold by pulling it in an upward motion. Remove the passenger side kick panel by unscrewing the black locking tab. Pull away from kick panel area from position to remove. Run the umbilical cable alongside the factory wiring. Remove white plastic wire clips using a pick tool by pressing away and lifting. Continue to run the length of the wire alongside the passenger side threshold. Lock plastic clips after running the wire through, and then reinstall the glove box assembly. In the cargo area, remove the passenger side panel by pulling directly towards the driver's side of the vehicle. Remove the weather stripping on the rear passenger side door. Apply pressure to the panel, pushing towards the driver's side to disengage the locking tabs holding the panel in place. The bottom locking clip of the panel may require a panel tool to disengage. Rear panel does not require full removal. You'll need just enough room to run the umbilical cable to the rear cargo tray opening. With the rear cargo tray off, you will be able to see a clear channel of where to run the umbilical wire. Run the wires as far as possible on the top side of the wheel well, then reach from the cargo tray opening to pull the remainder of the cable out. Connectors should rest in the center of the opening with about 3 inches of slack. Reinstall your passenger side rear panel, weather stripping, kick panel, and threshold. Rear speaker bypass cable installation. On the driver's side kick panel area, remove the dead pedal, using the panel tool to wedge this piece out of place and pull directly towards you. Remove driver's side threshold and driver's side kick panel. Run all wiring and cables above the accelerator pedal and steering column into the driver's side kick panel area. Run neatly and out of the way. Use cable ties as necessary. Leave any extra slack on the floor for now. In the kick panel area with a 10mm socket wrench, remove the factory speaker module. Loosen with the 10mm socket and then pull out directly towards you. Locate and remove the 10mm ground bolt located in the driver's side kick panel area. Moving factory wiring just to the left of the factory speaker module to reveal the ground location may be necessary. Install the harness ground together with the factory ground. Reinstall the 10mm bolt and tighten. Reinstall factory speaker module using a 10mm socket wrench. Power wire installation. Under the hood, locate the grommet for the main factory wiring harness on the driver's side of the firewall directly above factory wiring. Identify unused nipple and slice the tip off to create an opening for the power wire. Under the dash area, lubricate wire with a silicone spray or comparable substitute. Run the wire through the grommet. The wire will only go so far due to the positioning of the factory wiring under the hood. Once enough slack is visible, pull the full length of the power wire through. Avoid any interference with the accelerator and brake pedals. You'll want just enough length to reach your battery, so cut any additional slack. Once the power wire installation is complete under the dash area, secure any wires to existing factory wiring, using cable ties as necessary. Using a panel tool, pry open the black fastener holding the factory wiring in place under the hood on the driver's side of the vehicle. Install supplied high-temperature corrugated split loom to cover power wires and insulate against extreme temperatures under the hood. Run power wires to the battery by following the direction of the factory wiring harness towards the battery.
Your harness is equipped with 2 power wires, both the A and B power wire. For our single multi-channel power amplifier, you will only be using the A power wire. If trimming wire slack, we recommend tagging the A wire with a marker to better differentiate which wire is which after the trimming of the wires. It is recommended to run both power wires in the event you ever add our dedicated sub-amplifier option in the future. Use a wire stripper to strip 3/8 of an inch off the end of the power wire. Connect the power wire to the fuse holder assembly by inserting the 12-gauge stripped power wire into the yellow butt connector. Crimp the butt connector and apply heat to activate the solder and heat shrink insulator for the best connection possible. Repeat these steps for the B power wire if installing the OEM Audio Plus dedicated sub-amplifier option. Otherwise, tuck the unused power wire into the split loom. On the battery terminal, remove the 12mm bolt from the top of the battery's positive terminal. Install the ring terminal of the fuse holder lead. Reinstall the 12mm bolt and tighten.
Amplifier installation. Locate and remove the 10mm bolt under the driver's side dash just left of the brake pedal assembly. Install the A labeled bracket together with the 10mm bolt, positioning the bracket in the mounting location for the amplifier to mount properly. Remove the outward facing 10mm bolt used to mount the driver's side lower front dash panel. Install the B labeled bracket together with the 10mm bolt, positioning the bracket in a mounting location for the amplifier to mount adjacent to the kick panel.
Plug the 20-pin connector of the QuickSync wiring harness into the designated receptacle on the DSP power amplifier. For the single subwoofer option, connect the 8-pin connector of the subwoofer umbilical into the subwoofer output receptacle on the DSP power amplifier. For the SP and dual subwoofer option, connect the SP input connector from the subwoofer output receptacle on the DSP power amplifier to the input receptacle of the sub-amplifier. Connect the power and ground to the designated green receptacle on the sub-amplifier. For the single sub with dedicated sub-amplifier configuration, connect the 4-to-2 series adapter to the speaker receptacle and connect the sub-umbilical. For the dual subwoofer option, just connect the dual subwoofer umbilical directly to the speaker receptacle of the sub-amplifier.
Carefully insert amplifier assembly through the bottom opening underneath driver's side dash. Tilt amplifier assembly into designated mounting location. Brackets and amp assembly are clearly labeled A and B. Start by threading the top A bracket with provided wing nut. Only partially tighten the A bracket mounting for the time being. Position lower B bracket into position and tighten. Tighten A bracket completely. Once the amplifier installation is completed under the kick panel area, secure any wire slack to existing factory wiring using cable ties. Dash speaker installation. Using a picker panel tool, carefully lift dash speaker grill up out of position. Remove the two 10mm bolts holding the factory dash speaker into place and remove the speaker. Disconnect factory dash speaker. Position OEM Audio Plus 1-inch tweeter into position and reinstall dash speaker connector. Mount the OEM Audio Plus dash speaker by using the two 10mm bolts. Reinstall dash speaker grill and repeat for the other side. Front door speaker installation. Use a pick tool to remove the cover behind the interior door latch. Remove the number 2 screw behind the door latch. Use a pick tool to remove the cover below door grab handle and remove the number 2 Phillips screw behind the cover. Use a panel tool to remove the window door lock control panel. Insert tool between the rear edge of the panel to remove. Disconnect window door lock connectors from the panel. Use of a pick tool or precision screwdriver is needed to release this connector. Disengage door locking tab. Use panel tool to disengage the clips behind the door panel one at a time. Start at the bottom, then the sides, and finish at the top. Use gentle force to remove door panel. Remove door latch assembly from door panel by unsnapping and lifting latch connectors. Connectors need to be reassembled in the same orientation, white on top, green on bottom. Set door aside. Disconnect the 6x9 speaker connector. Remove the four 10mm bolts holding the factory 6x9 speaker in place, and remove speaker. Mount the 6x9 OEM Audio Plus speaker by using the four 10mm bolts and reinstall 6x9 speaker connector. Reassemble door in reverse order, taking time to ensure clips engage. Failure to securely reinstall door panel may result in rattles. Repeat steps for other side. Subwoofer installation. In the cargo area, remove the two 10mm bolts securing the cargo net hooks in place. Install the top subwoofer mounting bracket together with the 10mm bolts to the passenger side panel of the cargo area. With the bottom subwoofer bracket already installed, connect the subwoofer umbilical cable to the OEM Audio Plus sub-enclosure. Hand tighten the top two M6 screws. Do not tighten completely at this time. Install the two provided 10mm bolts into the bottom subwoofer mounting bracket. Tighten lower bracket completely. Complete installation by tightening the top bracket mounting hardware completely. Reinstall modified rear cargo tray or optional deck side garnish. Insert 30A fuse for the 12 gauge power wire, 20A fuse for the 14 gauge power wire. This concludes the OEM Audio Plus Reference 400 CF installation for the Toyota FJ Cruiser.